Good morning to all on this holiday Wednesday. My name is Gretchen Ho. It is the 9th day of April, bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matter. Let's get to stories that matter today. The House Tri-Committee held 4 social media personalities in contempt for defying subpoenas and disrupting a congressional probe on online disinformation. A vlogger also accused Attorney Harry Roque of orchestrating the edited Polvoron video of President Bongbong Marcos allegedly using drugs. Lawmakers and educators raised concerns over the growing cases of bullying in and outside classrooms. According to PISA, the Philippines led several countries in school bullying in 2018 and 2022, with DepEd data showing increasing incidents of physical and cyberbullying. And just in time for the Day of Valor, the Philippine Navy celebrated the arrival of its newest warship, the BRP Miguel Malvar, in a ceremony held at the Naval Operating Base in Subic, Zambales. Welcome to our program, Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. Now, first on the agenda, the House Tri-Committee cited 4 social media personalities in contempt for ignoring subpoenas or interfering with a congressional probe on online disinformation. Here's the full story.
A heated exchange erupted between Congressman Benny Abante and vlogger Elizabeth Joey Cruz during the House Tri-Committee hearing on the spread of fake news. Abante took offense at a past statement Cruz made about him.
Ang sabi mo, ganito, kung Abante, paswelduhan ka ng taxpayer, tinawag mo akong oh, bakit? Ba't mo ginawa sa akin yun?
We do not know each other personally. Therefore, the statement was said based in a not personal way, but it is an observation.
What is your right to tell me I'm
That is part of my freedom of speech.
The congressman became even more frustrated when he recalled that Cruz allegedly once said she would slap him in the face.
If I tell you right now, sasampaling kita. Freedom of speech yan.
That's part of your freedom, Mr. Chair.
Pag sinampal kita, hindi na freedom of speech yan.
Of course, sir. It's overt
Hindi
action
na.
already. Yes,
Hindi
sir.
na, no?
Yes, sir.
Oo, ang galing. Mahusay ito. Oo, magaling ka.
The clash only stopped when the committee chairman stepped in. Also brought up in a hearing was the sworn affidavit of vlogger Pebbles Cunanan. She alleged that Attorney Harry Roque was the mastermind behind the edited video of President Bongbong Marcos using cocaine, dubbed the Polvoron video.
Sa palagay ko po, Mr. Chair, party po yun ang plano ng gusto nilang pabagsakin ng presidente.
Meanwhile, vlogger Sas Rogando Sasot, Lorraine Badoy, and Jeffrey Celis were cited in contempt for failing to attend the hearing without a valid excuse. Vlogger Mark Lopez was also cited after posting criticism of the committee following his appearance at the previous hearing. Representatives from Meta who attended the hearing said they are taking steps to fight misinformation, including removing accounts and content that violate their community standards. They are also limiting the reach of low-quality content. They've partnered with third-party fact-checkers such as Rappler, Verifiles, and Adjong France Press to identify misinformation. They're also cooperating with law enforcement agencies.
We can ourselves send content for the fact checkers to check, or the fact checkers can do it themselves.
Some lawmakers believe social media platforms like Meta should be held accountable in combating fake news. They suggest that registration of social media platforms in the country may need to be mandated.
We are exploring the idea of requiring accreditation or registration for social media platforms operating in this country to ensure that there is a readily accessible, responsible point of contact that understands and complies with our laws.
Lawmakers and educators sounded the alarm on the rising cases of bullying in and outside classrooms. Mayan Los Baños with the report.
A brawl at Bagong Silangan High School in Quezon City that involved intense hair pulling and the fatal stabbing of a student by a classmate in Moonwalk National High School in Parañaque. These are just some of the more recent violence in schools that senators find very disturbing. At Tuesday's hearing of the Committee on Basic Education, Senator Win Gatchalian sounded the alarm on the rising cases of bullying in and outside of classrooms, and these incidents are all over social media now.
Parang nagiging palabas na ang bullying ngayon kasi everyone has a cellphone. No? At yung cellphone na yon ay pwede mong i-upload kaagad. Pag in-upload nila yan, hindi rin natin makokontrol and share. Pwede lang i-share yan sa isa, pwedeng i-share yan sa 1,000,000. Pero may sugat yan o malalim na sugat hanggang sa darating pang mga panahon. So, kaya importante na itong problemang ito ma-address na natin ngayon.
According to the principal of Bagong Silangan High School, they immediately spoke to the parents of students involved in the brawl. They even tried to keep the video from reaching online platforms, but it was the aunt of the victim that uploaded it. It also turned out that this was not the first and last bullying incident.
Bakit madalas magkaroon ng bullying sa inyo? Meron ba kayong in-appoint na guidance designate?
Meron po sir sa grade 7, meron po sa grade 8, grade 9 at grade 10 sir. Meron din pong grade level in charge po sa bawat grade level.
So-called bullies are given community service. Along with their victims, these children also undergo counseling. At Moonwalk National High School, the principal says they lack guidance counselors. At the moment, the school only has a guidance designate who also doubles up as a teacher.
Tayo pa rin ang tinaguri ang pinaka-bullying capital of the world.
According to the Program for International Student Assessment or PISA, the Philippines topped several countries when it comes to bullying in schools in 2018 and 2022. Department of Education data revealed rising incidents of physical and cyberbullying, almost 80,000 from 2019 to 2022. DepEd admits their teachers cannot monitor all students, especially when they step outside classrooms. The agency is proposing a child protection committee in every school to address matters of violence among students. For Senator Gatchalian, one effective way to curb bullying is to teach good manners and right conduct or GMRC to children in grades 1 to 12. DepEd promises to make this a priority when the new school year begins. Reporting for News 5, Mean Los Baños, we are One News.
The Immigration Bureau arrested 5 Chinese fugitives in Zamboanga who tried to exit through the back door. Here's the report.
We effect a warrantless arrest against you. So you have the right to remain silent.
These 5 men were apprehended in Zamboanga City on March 21. They turned out to be Chinese fugitives trying to fly out from the country. They were about to exit through the back door in Holo, Sulu, but their speedboat broke down at sea in Languyan, Tawi-Tawi. Police and immigration personnel then responded to the area.
Instead of facing the deportation cases against them, mukhang ang ginawa nila is they attempted to depart illegally sa backdoor para hindi sila maibalik doon sa bansang kanilang pinanggalingan.
According to the Immigration Bureau, they were employees of Lucky South 99, the illegal pogo hub located in Porac, Pampanga. The boatman, meanwhile, said he did not know that his passengers were fugitives.
Yung boss niya sir nakatawag, kontak ka daw ng hulo, may tao daw doon. Hindi daw nila alam kung in-check man. Tapos pagdating nila sa Sulu sir, naghintay daw sila sa pantalan.
He added that a certain Batman ordered him to provide service to them. The BI said Batman was paid 25,000 pesos to be the transporter. Authorities are still hunting him down, while the 5 Chinese fugitives are now detained at Camp Bagong Diwa. Mobile journalist Mary Reyes, we are One News.
Don't go away. We'll be back with more stories right after the break. I'm Gretchen Ho, and this is Morning Matters. The Philippine Navy officially welcomed its newest warship, the future BRP Miguel Malvar, during a ceremony at the Naval Operating Base in Subic, Zambales. The event was attended by key officials, including Defense Secretary Gibo Chodoro and AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo Browner Jr. BRP Miguel Malvar, which arrived from South Korea on April 4, measures 118.4 meters long and has a range of 4,500 nautical miles. Equipped with advanced sensors and weaponry, the ship is capable of anti-ship, anti-submarine, and anti-aircraft operations. Meanwhile, Chodoro thanked the Republic of Korea for its continued support in building resilient defense capabilities. How could these new naval assets help the country's maritime defense capabilities? To answer that question and to provide more insight, we have with us on this show, on the Day of Valor, AFP spokesperson Colonel Francel Margaret Padilla. Magandang araw po ng kagitingan po sa inyo.
Magandang araw ng kagitingan, Gretchen, and thank you for having us this morning.
Hi, Colonel, talk to us about BRP Miguel Malvar. Of course, we are always happy when we see an addition to our fleet, but what is the significance of having this kind of vessel and how does it enhance our capability?
Yes, Gretchen, no, as part of our continued commitment to protecting our country's vast maritime domain, being the second largest archipelago, no, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, through the Philippine Navy, has recently acquired several key naval assets. So this includes modern offshore patrol vessels, no, the ones that we call the OPVs. We have fast attract interdiction crafts and upgraded our multi-mission platforms as well. So our newest acquisition from the Philippine Navy is the South Korean-made corvette. This is the future BRP Miguel Malvar, which arrived in Subic, Zambales, and it was formally received on April 8, 2025. The Armed Forces of the Philippines actually proudly welcomed this arrival, and it was welcomed in the Naval Operating Base in Subic, Zambales. The ceremony was led by our Department of National Defense Secretary Gilberto Chodoro, together with our Chief of Staff. And it actually came at an opportune time, no, as we celebrate our Araw ng Kagitingan nga, and as we highlight the heroism, the valor, and sacrifice of those who fought for our democracy. So this is a formidable surface combatant. BRP Miguel Malvar is poised to play a vital role in defending our country's maritime sovereignty, particularly through our patrol and presence missions in the West Philippine Sea. And Gretchen, we continuously conduct these maritime patrols with our naval vessels together with our aircraft vessels as we do maritime and aerial patrols accordingly in the West Philippine Sea. And with the comprehensive archipelagic defense concept, all of this, we're fortifying our core defense capabilities and strategic basing also all throughout the archipelago.
Comparing the capabilities of Miguel Malvar to the current fleet, ano po yung kaya niyang gawin? And also, how big is this compared to our largest?
The Miguel Malvar measures 118.4 meters, along with its beam of 14.9 meters. So medyo mas malaki na to, Gretchen, no? It has a displacement of 3,200 tons, and it has a cruising speed of 15 knots. So also, its capabilities has an operational range of around 4,500 nautical miles. So this is actually one of two, it has a sister ship. It's a state-of-the-art corvette, which we acquired from Korea, South Korea, together with the HD Hyundai Heavy Industries. This was launched in June 18 in 2024, and it underwent a rigorous trial before it was delivered here in the Philippines.
So yan po ba yung BRP Conrado Yap? Pareho, dalawa na yan.
The other one is the future BRP Diego Silangma.
So wala, papangalanan pa lang po natin? Paparating
Yes, ma'am.
pa lang?
Same as ito pong bagong dating. Opo.
Okay, let's talk about more of these modernization programs. The U.S. has approved the sale of 20 F-16s for $5.4 billion. But at what stage are we in now when it comes to purchasing those fighter jets? Have we ruled out the possibility of buying the less expensive Saab Gripen from Sweden?
At this point, ma'am, no, the capabilities for our modernization projects will very well be addressed po by the Department of National Defense until such time po that these assets are formally turned over for operational use for the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
So wala pa po final word on that?
Wala pa po, ma'am, no? So, ito kasi will undergo through the normal process of our procurement kung it is a possibility po for us to consider this. And yun nga, ma'am, no? Pag ito po ay finalized and turned over to the Armed Forces of the Philippines, then we can talk about the capabilities of this.
Kasi kung titignan niyo po yung Saab Gripen, nasa $85 million siya per airplane versus the F-16 which is at $121 million per plane. And the F-16s are also reportedly much more expensive to operate on a per-hour basis. Are we ready to commit enough resources to the maintenance of that, given that the budget for purchase was just set at the $2+ billion?
All of this will be considered by the members of the technical working group,
Okay, pero kung sakasakali po ay kukunin po natin yan, kasama na rin po ba yung spare parts, ammunitions, engines? Because also, there was a period before that several FA-50s went offline because of the delay in purchase in spare parts. So, ngayon po ba kasama sa strategy natin yung consideration, yung purchase nun?
Yes, Gretchen, no, we have evolved na din itong ating pag-procure. Marami tayong kinoconsider dyan, no? How it will fall into play in our comprehensive archipelagic defense concept, how it will fall into play in terms of jointness and interoperability. Lahat ng mga yan kinoconsider natin. And also, of course, from our lessons learned from the past, nandyan na din yung after-sales support. Kasama na yan when we do our market research.
Okay, so both of these, the BRP Miguel Malvar and the F-16s are fighter ships, fighter jets. But right now, the principle of the Philippine government is to have the Coast Guard in the front lines. Where does the Navy find itself when it comes to the comprehensive archipelagic defense strategy? Saan po pumipwesto? I mean, without giving too much detail, but so we understand saan po nagpi-play ng part as deterrent or deterring force itong mga nakuha o makukuha po natin.
Yes, Gretchen. The Philippine Coast Guard is the frontline for the law enforcement operations. Sa atin kasi, in the Armed Forces of the Philippines, we are the frontliners for national defense. So with these ships that we are procuring are these lead ships are itong BRP Miguel Malvar nga, no? It boasts cutting-edge capabilities. So it includes anti-ship missile systems, vertical launch systems, and advanced radar technologies. So ang overarching premise with us is for national defense itong ating mga modernization programs for the Armed Forces of the Philippines. But at any one time, we are patrolling our waters, no? We are conducting our maritime patrols and of course aerial patrols. Continuous nating ginagawa yan while the PCG and the BFAR are the front lines in law enforcement. And we assist them in law enforcement operations as needed.
Okay, the BRP Miguel Malvar also has an anti-submarine detector. I mean, can this also detect dark vessels out at sea?
These are all capabilities na kasama natin, no? Meron din tayong mga ganyang capabilities. As you can see, when we conduct our transparency initiatives, no, we give the details accordingly of all that the vessels that we have been detecting in our waters.
So meron siyang dark vessel detection capability.
With that, Gretchen, I'm not really privy dun sa dark vessel. I'll keep you posted. I'll find out after this.
Okay, let's go to the Pinoys arrested over in China for being alleged spies. What's our update on them?
With that, ma'am, no, this is something that we defer to the Department of Foreign Affairs. As of this time, the Armed Forces of the Philippines has not received any formal report regarding this, ma'am.
Okay, in their supposed confession, the arrested Pinoys apparently claimed that they have been working for the Philippine Spy Intelligence Services. That's the first time you've heard of that office. Do we even have such office?
Wala po tayong ganyang opisina, no, dito sa ating this was already clarified also by our National Security Council.
May pag tinitingnan po natin kasi sila, no, parang sila po ay scholars na nag-aaral sa China, na bigyan ng ng lodging, ng syempre pang logistics nila, also yung pang scholarship nila. Pero do you think there would be or there could be basis for the suspicion as to why these three individuals were flagged? Meron kaya tayong parang clues as to bakit silang tatlo? Sa dinami-dami po na nag-aaral po sa China.
As I said, Gretchen, no, wala tayong official report from relevant authorities regarding this espionage claims. But based on experience, no, when we do foreign schoolings, we are really officially vetted by the host country. So we undergo a lot of background checks prior to us being approved to be part of this scholarship programs.
So, but they remain to be under arrest. They are currently detained, the three individuals.
Yeah, as of this time nga, ma'am, no, wala kaming official report on this. So the Armed Forces of the Philippines will coordinate with the proper agencies accordingly.
Let's go on over to our shores. Do you have the latest on the Chinese nationals arrested in Palawan and also in Makati? Are there results already of the investigations on them?
Sa ngayon, Gretchen, continuous pa rin yung investigation that we're conducting because marami nga itong mga equipment that was part of the arrest na mga nakuha natin. So, hinihimay-himay natin ito and we are looking at doing forensic investigation on all of this equipage. So, as soon as we have the final reports, the lead investigator here is the National Bureau of Investigation. So, they will be the ones to give out the official report accordingly.
Kasi nakapagtataka po, kasi yun nga sabi niyo po, they seem to be mapping the bases, the Philippine bases. But also, hindi po ba present na rin yun naman pag tinignan niyo po sa satellite images and also when you search for it on Google Earth, makikita mo na parang what could be the more specific details and the rationale for taking this route?
Ito kasi, Gretchen, yung mapping nila, you don't need to enter the facility. So, makikita mo na yung 3D parang features nitong minamap nila with this
yung
equipment.
loob mismo, yung loob po ng buildings mismo.
Without getting inside the facility. Oo. So, 3D mapping ito. So, tinitingnan nga natin to, iniisa-isa yan. But ang questionable kasi dito, itong mismong mga involved dito na facilities. So, these are military facilities, PNP facilities, critical infrastructures, no, power grids, our water systems. Yun na mga yon. So, kailangan talaga tutukan natin ito because kasama din dito pati yung mga malls, no? Considering that Filipinos are mall goers. So, matao talaga itong mga ganitong lugar. So, ina-identify natin the purpose of why this is being done and kung sino talaga yung perpetrator nito and for what reason are they conducting this.
The AFP Chief of Staff, General Romeo Browner, has warned its troops, the AFP, to stay on alert in event of the conflict escalating over in Taiwan. How exactly are we preparing our fleet, our troops?
This is in preparation of different possibilities, Gretchen. Kasama naman talaga yan sa mandato ng Sandatahang Lakas ng Pilipinas to protect the people and secure the state. So with this, we have to strengthen our defense posture and also consider itong ating humanitarian assistance and disaster response. So with this, ito yung hinighlight ng ating Chief of Staff, no, yung non-combatant evacuation if the need arises. So considering nga na napakarami ng considering na napakarami po, no, ng ating OFWs diyan sa area, yan ang tinitingnan ng Armed Forces of the Philippines, how we would be reacting accordingly.
Kung sakasakali po, saan po ba natin naasahan? I mean, yung anong probinsya po kaya yung maaaring sumalo? Doon po, visit the nearest one, which is, for example, Batanes. Kasama na rin po doon yung Mavulis Island. Kasi galing po ako doon, and when I was there, they were reconstructing the port. Parang pinahanda po nila para mas maraming makalapag doon sa Mavulis. Have we identified areas?
Yes, Gretchen, no? At the Armed Forces of the Philippines, we maintain po the vigilance over the entire region. No? So we will fulfill our mandate of our protecting the people and securing our state. So we are conducting a comprehensive contingency planning. So this is yung NOLCOM nga will be the northern frontier na fronting dito sa areas na to. It also is the house of different EDCA sites. And EDCA sites are multi-role facilities. So they can serve as fisherman shelters, pwede silang evacuation centers, and pag HADR, like nitong huling tumaan na maraming bagyo na sunod-sunod, no, nagamit natin ito as staging areas, no, and repacking of relief goods dito sa area ng Batanes during that time. So itong mga to, lahat, even the EDCA sites and any other sites that we could use in the area, gagamitin natin yan lahat.
Okay, but how are we exactly preparing? Are we conducting scenario simulations already at the AFP?
Gretchen, we're conducting a comprehensive contingency planning. So this means that we are preparing for a wide range of potential scenarios. No? So ang priority natin dito is the safety and well-being of our fellow Filipinos, of course.
Okay, but why sound the alarm on this? I mean, is there anything that has escalated that you noticed a pattern that is quite alarming? That's why the AFP chief already spoke about it.
We do not want to sow unnecessary panic. So this is something that a reassurance to the Filipino people that the Armed Forces of the Philippines is actually fully committed, no, to maintaining peace and upholding our national interest. But we continuously monitor and are conducting strategic planning as we are actually dedicated to upholding the safety and security of each and every Filipino. So this is actually a reassurance to the Filipino people that we are preparing accordingly for any eventuality.
Colonel, quite also alarming is the gall of Chinese research ships. In entering the country, meron po isa doon sa may norte, sa may Itbayat, na umiikot doon na parang yung pattern niya. At meron din naman isang research vessel na talagang pumasok sa archipelagic sea lane ng Pilipinas. I mean, at this point, what can we do to prevent that? Are we just going to issue a radio challenge to them? Or hindi ba parang medyo nakakatakot na lapit-lapit na po nila? Oo.
Yes, Gretchen, no? The Philippine Coast Guard is on top of the situation on this in terms of law enforcement operations. So, china-challenge nga natin ito. On the sidelines, the Armed Forces of the Philippines is there. We are conducting our maritime patrols. What is important to note is that we are able to detect the presence of these vessels in our exclusive economic zone. So ito nga, nandyan naman yung protocols that are at play, and with the Armed Forces of the Philippines continues on with our mandate. No? So nagma-maritime patrols pa rin tayo dyan, aerial patrols, and we continuously observe itong activities na nga ito. But we are ready to augment the Philippine Coast Guard for law enforcement operations.
Alright, ngayon pong araw ng kagitingan, kayo po ba ay may mensahe sa mga Pilipino?
Yes, Gretchen, no? Ating i-acknowledge and itong heroism and sacrifice, lalo na din sa ating mga kasundaluhan na nakadeploy all over the Philippines, no? At lalong-lalo na din itong mga nandyan sa ating features and islands in our exclusive economic zone in the West Philippine Sea. So to the Filipino people po, we want to affirm this, that for our modernization projects, every peso that we invest in our modernization for the armed forces is actually an investment in our collective security, stability, and sovereignty. But ito pong security is the responsibility of every Filipino. So dapat po united tayo in this, maging mapanuri tayo. Nagpapasalamat po kami sa mga reports that have been given to us, no, para din na we will be able to conduct thorough investigation on matters na nire-report din ng ating mga kababayan. So these upgrades are not just about military hardware, itong modernizations natin, no, but they are there to ensure the future generations of the Filipinos can live free from external coercion, protected by a credible defense force, which is your armed forces of the Philippines. Overall, Gretchen, the AFP remains steadfast in our commitment, no, to our constitutional mandate to protect the people and secure the state. Padating na po yung ating halalan. Ang hiling po namin is to cast your votes, to use your constitutional right to vote para po sa ikabubuti po ng ating bayan. And maligayang araw ng kagitingan po sa lahat.
Well, it is good and timely to remember the soldiers who are indeed far from their families, but they are protecting our territory and our rights over in the West Philippine Sea. At binibigyan po namin kayo ng pugay ngayong araw ng kagitingan. Maraming salamat for joining us on Morning Matters today. We have AC spokesperson Colonel Francel Margaret Padilla. Stay tuned on Morning Matters. We'll be right back after a short break. I'm Gretchen Ho, and this is Morning Matters. Another Chinese research vessel has been spotted sailing in waters off Cagayan province. The Philippine Coast Guard said a Chinese ship Dianke Wan Hao was seen around 24 nautical miles off the town of Santa Ana. It traversed through the Philippines' exclusive economic zone on April 6 through the northern part of Batanes. This is the second ship that entered the northern EEZ of the Philippines. For all of these developments, let's discuss that with PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela. Isa po nga magandang araw po ng kagitingan po sa inyo, Commodore.
Magandang umaga sa iyo, Gretchen, at isang magandang araw ng kagitingan din sa iyo.
Hey, Commodore, pag-usapan muna natin itong research vessel na nakita. Tama po ba that this is the second or is this the third? Kasi meron po yung Chong Shan Ta Xie at meron din yung Song Hang. Is this the third or the second?
Well, the Songhan, ito kasi dumaan lang, hindi siya umikot ng Batanes eh. Pero itong Songshan Sue, tsaka yung Dianke Wan Hao, ito yung dumaan naman over the province of Batanes. So we can say this time na nitong taon na to, there are only two Chinese research vessels that passed through the northern part of our country.
You talked about them, Chongshan Taxie, making a reverse D pattern movement. How were you able to infer from this movement that it is conducting maritime research in the area? Is this a normal pattern for research vessels kapag meron silang sinesurvey?
Well, Gretchen, it entered our exclusive economic zone as early as April 2, no? From the northern part of our exclusive economic zone. And then it went straight to yung end nung letter D na sinabi ko nga, that was April 3. And then for the past 5 days, from April 3 to April 8, yun lang yung ginagawa nila, no? Continuously doing that navigation pattern na reverse D. So if you're going to ask any research scientists, maritime research scientists, they would say that they're not doing this for no reason. What they're actually doing is actually conducting marine scientific research already using that kind of vessel. Hindi naman siguro nila uubusin ng 5 araw nila na umiikot-ikot lang ng ganyang template ng walang dahilan.
Pero ano kaya meron doon? I mean, it's a bit curious as to what is up north. We do know that this is also near Taiwan. What could they possibly be interested in?
Well, in conducting marine scientific research, there are various reasons, no? And there are very diverse information that you can get. Not just the tide and current of underneath, but even the types of the seabed and all, no? So I don't want to speculate what is the actual motivation of the People's Republic of China, why they are conducting marine scientific research up north.
Okay, there's another one, yung Songhang that I talked about. This one actually entered archipelagic waters. Isn't that quite alarming that they're able to get this far, traverse the whole country in our territorial sea? What do we plan when it comes to these movements inside, so near our shores?
Well, for the Songhang, as what Colonel Prancel mentioned a while ago, no, the Philippine Coast Guard has always been alerted every time we monitor this kind of movement of the Chinese research vessels. And based on our monitoring since it entered the archipelagic waters, passed through Mindoro Strait, and then pumasok ng Sulu Sea, and then bumaba ng Cebuto, we are pretty much convinced na ang ginawa lang nila is right of innocent passage. No? Wala naman silang ginawang ganitong pag-ikot-ikot katulad ng ginagawa ngayon ng Shan Daswe nung mga nakaraang araw. No? For the Songhan, it just passed through our western seaboard, entered Mindoro Strait, and then exited in the Cebuto Passage, which monitored by the Philippine Coast Guard.
So in archipelagic waters or the territorial sea, there is a right of innocent passage applied.
Yes, actually, it
Oo.
passed through the archipelagic sea lane na kasama naman sa ipinasa ng batas na natin, no, ng 19th Congress. The archipelagic sea lane. It passed through Mindoro Strait and then it has to exit Cebu Passage. Yun naman ang ginawa nitong Chinese research vessel Songhang na to nung nakaraang linggo.
Kasi tawag dito, yung basta hindi siya tumigil, no? Basta expeditious yung kanyang passage is fine. So any vessel can do that also in our archipelagic sea lane. Is that correct?
Yes, it has to be continuous and expeditious.
Okay, sabi niya kasi, no, pupunta daw sila ng Indian Ocean to catch fish. Bakit kaya kailangan sa atin pa dumaan? Bakit hindi pa ganun? I mean, ano yung daanan na yun?
Some of the Indian Coast Guard friends also reach out to me. They're also puzzled why they're going to pass through the Cebu Passage and then siguro dadaan pa siya ng Indonesia and I really don't know, but this kind of information is somewhat humorous, no? Hindi ko alam kung nagkakaintindihan talaga lang kami when we challenge them. Definitely, they are not conducting marine scientific research when it passed through the archipelagic sea waters and it used the archipelagic sea lane.
At what point does apprehension occur? Kasi minsan meron tayong mga hinuhuli o dinidetain. At what point does that occur?
Well, for example, if we can really prove that they are conducting marine scientific research, ito nga sanang si Sohongshan Daswe, no? Ang protocol kasi natin siya na Gretchen, no? We first deploy Coast Guard aircraft to confirm kasi there are instances sa paggamit namin ng dark vessel detection. There are people who are using signal spoofing. It is detected by the DVD, the dark vessel detection, but eventually we will figure out hindi naman siya totoo. So ang ginagawa na namin is the Commandant, Admiral Gavan, would always deploy an aircraft first to confirm whether such vessel is existing and doing that kind of research. And then that will be the time na ang Coast Guard vessel will also be deployed. Unfortunately, when we confirm the presence of Songshan Daswe, it already went out of our exclusive economic zone. So hindi na tayo nakapag-deploy ng Coast Guard vessel. But I agree with you, the Chinese government do not have the authority or legal reference whatsoever to conduct maritime scientific research within our own exclusive economic zone. It is obviously a violation of the Philippine Maritime Zones Act and UNCLOS. So the Philippine Coast Guard have all the reason to conduct maritime law enforcement to prevent such marine scientific research from doing such illegal activity.
So kung naabutan po natin sila conducting maritime research in the EEZ, then we can apprehend. Is that, did I get that correct?
Well, we can apprehend and, Gretchen, there are a lot of ways that we can prevent them from stopping their illegal activity. No? But again, let us be very logical about it. Parang ang question lang din yan na are the Chinese maritime militia that are swarming our own exclusive economic zone can also be apprehended by a smaller Coast Guard vessel with a lesser number of Coast Guard fleet. Those kind of logic is also being crafted and well thought of every time we carry out a particular operation.
Okay, on April 6 and 7, you posted a series of photos and videos on X saying that the BRP Cabra was able to evade multiple attempts by CCG 3302 to ram it. Yung pinost niyo po ba noong April 6 at 7, magkaiba po yun or isang event lang yun?
Those are different incident, Gretchen. No? Yung sa April 6 event, ito yung China Coast Guard 3302 conducted dangerous maneuver and seemingly attempting to directly ram head-to-head our Coast Guard vessel. Ibig sabihin, babanggain niya talaga ang unahan ng barko natin. And then last April 7, what the China Coast Guard 3302 was doing is that it attempted numerous times to ram the aft of our Coast Guard vessel, ibig sabihin yung hulihan ng barko natin. At some point, nung hindi nila mahabol yan, they even deployed a much more faster and smaller vessel, which is the intention also was to ram etong hulihan ng BRP Cabra.
How far was the incident from the Bajo de Masinloc?
Well, it has a distance of 25 to 28 nautical miles off the coast of, no, from BDM, but it has a distance of 90 to 100 nautical miles off the coast of Zambales.
Kasi naalala ko po, nung kami nagpunta dyan, sinasabi po nila na by 40 nautical miles, you expect a challenge already, no? Kasi nga, they are holding on tight. They are claiming the 12 nautical mile zone to be their territorial sea, and then after that, talagang binabantayan na nila, no? Ano po napansin natin since November 10, when they filed geographic coordinates and nautical charts for sea territory with the United Nations, did we see an escalation or notice a tightening of Chinese watch over Bajo de Masinloc?
Well, I think the significant changes na nakita natin sa China Coast Guard was last January 4 when it first deployed the China Coast Guard monster ship and conducted illegal patrol dito sa west coast ng ating Ilocos region, Pangasinan, Mindoro, and Zambales. And then they kind of want to normalize this kind of illegal deployment. And our response was to persistently deploy our Coast Guard vessels so that we will not allow them to normalize such illegal patrol.
Okay. And then taking a look at the whole of the West Philippine Sea, how many ships are now in that area, in the Bajo de Masinloc area? I believe there are a total of 40 Chinese ships detected in the West Philippine Sea in March.
Well, I don't have the figures right now, Gretchen, no? But off the coast in Bajo de Masinloc, we have monitored 3 to 4 China Coast Guard vessels. That's basically a normal number of China Coast Guard vessels that we're monitoring. And then there are also China Coast Guard vessels deployed in Kalayaan Island Group. It's because of the Mischief Reef that they have naval base and also the Subi Reef. But as to the actual number, it varies from day to day.
Nakakapangisda pa rin naman po yung ating mga kababayan doon. We saw 26 ships.
Yeah. Ms. Gretchen, last week, we were able to deploy 2 Coast Guard vessels and 4 BFAR vessels to support the reported 26 Filipino fishermen off the coast of Zambales, no? As a distance of like 25 nautical miles distance from Bajo de Masinloc. So we were successful in providing safety and security, and the BFAR are also successful in providing fuel subsidy. So ibig sabihin, it goes to show that the Filipino fishermen can still fish there, and that they have the support of the Coast Guard and the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources for them to not to be harassed and receive additional assistance from the Philippine government.
Okay. Marami pa po akong gustong itanong, pero mukhang wala na po tayong oras. Actually, tungkol yun sa fake news. But I think that requires another hour. We'll get to that, but I'll let you rest for today. It is your day after all, araw ng kagitingan. A happy day of valor to all our Philippine Coast Guard out there. Maraming salamat for keeping our waters safe. We have Commodore J. Tariela talking to us about the situation over at the West Philippine Sea. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Maraming salamat, Gretchen, at mabuhay ka.
Don't go away. More matters to discuss right after the break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. Former President Rodrigo Duterte has appointed French lawyer Dov Jacobs as assistant counsel in his crimes against humanity case. Jacobs, with 15 years of experience in international law, has worked on high-profile ICC cases, including those of Laurent Gbagbo and Mahamat Said. Duterte will be Jacobs' first Southeast Asian client. Meanwhile, Kitty Duterte, on behalf of his father, has filed a motion before the Supreme Court to set the consolidated habeas corpus petitions for oral arguments. Earlier, Kitty, along with Duterte's sons, Davao City Mayor Sebastian and Davao City 1st District Representative Paulo, filed habeas corpus petitions seeking their father's release from the ICC. And for more details on that, we have Mon Gualvez, who joins us live still from The Hague in Netherlands. Magandang umaga sa'yo. What do we know about Dov Jacobs?
Hi, Gretchen. Good morning. We got the chance to have an interview again with Attorney Nicholas Kaufman yesterday, and he even mentioned that aside from being associate counsel, Dov Jacobs will be assisting him on one very discrete issue. And that's why hindi na niya na naman minention kung ano bang klaseng issue itong mas tututukan daw ni Attorney Dov Jacobs. But he is an international humanitarian lawyer. He is an academic, also very well known, a member of Leiden University. He lectures there, in which people in The Hague, according to Attorney Kaufman, know Attorney Jacobs very, very well. And he's also a proponent of one of the issues which is central to the case. So, kumbaga, a big shot lawyer na talagang very helpful daw sa kaso ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte dito sa pagharap niya sa International Criminal Court. Again, si Attorney Kaufman is very, very limited in whenever magbibigay siya ng mga statement, no? Pero yun nga, ang sinasabi lang niya dito, makakatulong daw itong si Attorney Dov Jacobs dito nga sa kaso together with the other three international lawyers with their team. Gretchen.
Merong pinag-uusapan si Attorney Nicholas Kaufman tungkol dun sa limiting the IDs submitted by victims in this the case. Do you know more about that?
Yes, actually, ang mas concern niya talaga dito is about the respect, no? Respecting everybody's right to be heard. That is what should happen during the trial. Yun yung pinaka-binabanggit din ni Attorney Kaufman. And it should not be manipulated for whatever political end, meaning the victims have the right to participate in the hearing, that the victims must also respect the right of the former president for a fair trial, and also the right of the former president to interim release should he meet the basic criteria for interim release, and that they will be asking it in due course. With regard to the ID of the victims, he didn't elaborate it more, pero ang sinasabi lang niya, sana daw hindi mawala yung respeto nga, no, dito sa mangyayaring judicial process among the victims and together with his client, former President Rodrigo Duterte.
Kasi ang sabi niya dito sa report na nababasa natin, he wants the pretrial chamber to limit the range of allowed documents to be submitted by victims as proof of their identity to either only the national ID or an up-to-date Philippine passport to streamline proceedings. Pero alam mo naman dito sa Pilipinas, ay ang dami-dami nating ID. Yung national ID natin, marami pang hindi dumarating. Hindi din nakasynchronize yan. Pagdating naman sa Philippine passport, hindi lahat may passport. Tapos pagdating naman sa mga barangay clearance, maraming pwedeng kumuha ng barangay clearance. How is this, have you asked the prosecution how they plan to defend this?
Actually, when we got the chance to clarify it from the lawyers of the victims, ang sinasabi talaga nila dahil nga wala pa namang ID system din, no? Hindi masyadong, yun nga, as you mentioned, no, hindi nga rin ganun ka solid pa yung national identification system natin in the Philippines. Kaya malamang ito yung pinakagagawin nilang basis to defend this kind of motion in limiting yung mga IDs na pwedeng ma-provide ng mga victims para nga mas mabigyan pa rin ng chance yung mga victims to participate. Lalo right now, pinagbibigyan pa na makapag-submit at makapagbigay pa ng kanilang willingness to participate in the case ang mga victims even month before the confirmation of charges in September. At ang sinasabi nga rin dito, in the end, no, especially if we're going to talk about the witnesses, only the prosecution naman ang makapagbigay ng statement or tungkol dito sa pag-recognize sa either isang victim to become a witness or a witness per se alone.
Ang kadahilanan na ng defense ay the insufficiently verified identity documents could lead to misidentification, double counting, and the inclusion of false victims. That's why they're concerned about this. But the third ID, actually, if wala yung national ID, wala yung passport, is naman. And hindi alam natin nga, yun nga, na hindi lahat meron dito sa Pilipinas ng mga ID na yun. So I guess this debate is also worth looking into. But there was also some comments about the legal representation of the victims. Did you get to ask both defense and prosecution about that?
Legal representation of the victims, wala pa. Pero ang sinasabi naman sa atin ng lawyers nga ng victims, talagang this time medyo maluwag-luwag ng konti. Kahit sila, they can represent their clients, itong mga victims dito nga sa kaso, at talagang kahit nga virtual or online, ang sinasabi din nila, allowed din daw yan. So these are things na inaayos, no, ng prosecution. On the other hand, lalo they are completing yung DCC, yung documents containing charges that will be submitted before the confirmation of charges this September.
It seems that the defense is asking for the victims to be backed first by the ICC's Office of Public Counsel for Victims dahil daw pag maraming mga lawyer na nag-represent, it could be encumbering towards the defense dahil ang dami nilang sasagutin from multiple lawyers from many victims. So they're asking one office to represent them temporarily while they have their actual counsel with them. Yun din ang isa sa mga mga request ni Nicholas Kaufman. Pero any updates on the family there? Who's coming?
Yeah,
Who visited
in
yesterday?
terms of the family, Gretchen, yesterday, we saw again yung mag-ina, sina Hanilet Avancenia and Veronica Kitty Duterte, and Kitty mentioned that she will be celebrating her birthday here in The Hague. Birthday kasi niya bukas, if I'm not mistaken, April 10. Yan. So after their visit to her father sa detention center, dito na lang din daw sila magse-celebrate ng kanyang birthday. They will be requesting additional time for the visit kasi pwede naman na pagbibigyan naman ng ICC detention center personnel itong mga ganitong classic requests if it's valid. At the same time, nagsalita ang mag-ina na talagang the president himself actually kumbaga pinatawad na daw niya, at pinapasa Diyos na lamang daw niya. Those are the exact words of Hanilet when we ask about what's the former President Duterte's reaction sa kanyang mga possible na nasa likod nito, because they keep on saying na nagkaroon daw ng quote-unquote politika dito sa pagpapadala sa kanya dito sa The Hague to face the case crimes against humanity in the International Criminal Court. So far, right now, medyo nakakapag-adjust na rin daw si former president in terms of the food that he eats inside at saka sa weather. Pero naninibago ng konti, pero yun nga, nakakapag-adjust na daw. Lalo on Friday, it will be a month after na madala na nga dito si former President Duterte sa The Hague.
And that is the deadline for the submission of documents or the response from the defense. And we will be staying tuned to that. The birthday, of course, of Kitty tomorrow and that deadline. In the meantime, maraming salamat, Mon Gualvez, for being our man of valor. Araw ng kagitingan ngayon dito sa Pilipinas. Sana makapagpahinga ka naman. We have Mon Gualvez reporting to us live from The Hague in Netherlands. And that's it for today's episode of Morning Matters. My name is Gretchen Hall. We are One News, all sides, all the time.